in my 5th grade year, a candy shop opened up in town, and they weren't selling magical candy, but I daydreamed what if they were. And so as an adult, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take my 5th grade year and create some fake characters and pretend that candy shop was giving out magical candy that gave kids superpowers and make it a story. It was, so like the town in the book is just like the town where I lived when I was a kid. It's Clayton, California. All the kids there know that it's their town because they can totally recognize it. And I do have a sequel coming to it next year, finally.
And he had plenty of time to write it that year he spent in prison.
Yes, don't trespass. Even though it inspired me to write a very successful novel.
This is another one for Brandon Mull. I just wondered, like, I heard maybe that Fabling was going to be turned into a movie or something. Is that going to happen, or?
Movie stuff keeps stopping and starting for Fablehaven. Right now it has stopped. The most recent thing was John Stevenson, who directed Kung Fu Panda, was attached to try to direct it, and just a few months ago that fell apart. A lot of people on here, on the panel, have movie stuff in development. Right now Candy Shop War is in screenplay stage, and I know Dashner's got stuff going on with Maze Runner, and Shannon's got stuff going on with Austin Land, so lots of movie stuff going on. Watch our websites for hard news. Like on my website, brandonmull.com, if we get hard movie news, I'll throw it on there, all right?
By the way, you guys can keep asking questions directly to Brandon Mull, but we cannot guarantee we will not answer it for him. I have my own opinion about how you wrote Candy Shop Wars, so.
If you were going to write in any other genre, what kind of books would you write?
I write everything I want to write, and I probably will keep. I've done books for adults that are realistic, kind of women's fiction. I've done graphic novels. I've done fantasy, middle grade, and young adult. I've done a screenplay. I want to do everything. And I think I'm working on a science fiction, so I want to do as much as I can. Because I get bored really easily. Because you don't understand, it's not about talent, it's about intense boredom.
I have started stuff that is like really hardcore science fiction. I'm a huge science fiction fan. I may do some science fiction. I have several books for adults that I'm working on. And also I have written 2 Regency romance novels. The Unsuitable Suitor and Lady Lily's Divorce, which I am actually trying to shop around.
I'd really just like to grow up to be Brandon Mull, because without the midlife crisis.
It takes a chin dimple. That's all it does.
I don't have one. But I have 3 boys, and they don't want to read my books because there's girls on the cover, so I would love to write like an awesome boys adventure series.
I dream of writing a really frilly, cute, girly book. Someday.
That was gonna be my joke. Actually, I really, really want to start trying to write screenplays for movies, so.
You'd be good at that.
This question is for all of you. I was wondering how you go about publishing your books.
I would say every single one of us will have a different answer to that, and every published author you ask will have a different answer to that. The weird thing about getting published is there's no one direct path, and I kind of thought before I got published that there was some secret that published authors knew, and if I only got in, somehow it would happen. Most of it, if you ask anybody, someone said once that if you ask anybody their publishing story, they'll say, you know, it's a funny thing, and then they'll tell sort of an odd coincidence or something had happened. How it happened with me is I wrote for 19 years and got lots and lots and lots of rejections, and finally somebody read my book, The Goose Girl, and then I got a lot more rejections on The Goose Girl, and then finally somebody said yes. So it's a lot of no, 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 and just keep writing and just keep working on the next book.
I was rejected 189 times. I scrapbooked them. Then I started going to writers' conferences and met my agent, and she turned me down. And then I met a girl who knew a thing, who knew somebody else who was going to meet with this editor, and they had another slot to fill, and somebody just backed out, and they put me in it, and she liked my book. And then I went back to the agent who rejected me and said, well, listen, I know you hate me, but would you read my contract for me, because I can't understand it. And voila! It only took 9 years and 189 rejection letters. Oh, and I wrote 14 manuscripts.
Mine's kind of the same. I published a Deseret book for a while, and I loved it. And then I wrote a book that I knew wasn't a good fit for the Deseret book, and they were nice about it, but it was clear that they don't publish dystopian young adult fiction. And so I had to start over. I had to start querying, just like these guys, sending out letters. Eventually I got an agent, and that's how that match ended up coming to be. So kind of the same thing, different time frames, but a lot of writing, a lot of rejection.
I would suggest if you want to get published, go to like an antique store and just start rubbing lamps. You just never know, you know what I mean? As you can hear, like query like crazy to agents and to publishers. Try to learn how to pitch your story really briefly. It helps a lot if your story fits in an existing category and it's a little different than everything else in that category in kind of a cool way. And if you can kind of pinpoint what that is and learn how to pitch it to people and pitch it in writing and then pitch it to agents and to publishers and go to conferences and do everything that makes sense, and hopefully you get a little lucky. It usually takes lots of rejection. It took me lots of rejection.
Yes, I think the key element here is to not quit when you get those rejections. Just like high school, when you're asking girls out and they keep saying no, which happened to Brandon a lot, okay? You gotta just keep trying. Every one of us got rejected many times. But did we quit?
And when you find that genie, think through the questions. I mean, think through the wishes before you make them. Cliff Notes is wish for more wishes on the first one.
This is for Brandon. Where'd you get the idea for the cow in Fablehaven?
In Fablehaven, there's a giant cow named Viola. In Fablehaven, to see what's going on, you need to drink like magic milk because everything's shrouded in illusion, right? And then the magic milk lets you see through the illusion. And so I needed the milk to come from the milk to come from someplace. And one time I was in this barn. Apparently that's a theme tonight. I was in this barn and it was really big. And you guys have probably seen something like that, right? There's like these big 3-4 story barns. And I was in this barn and I was like, you could park a plane in here. Why does this barn have to be so big? And I thought, oh, what if that were the size of the cow? And to me, that was kind of the right kind of crazy for Fablehaven.